The Cost of Envy. The sun dipped low over the quiet streets of Maplewood, a suburban enclave in upstate New York where manicured lawns and white picket fences hid simmering tensions. Ellen Harper pulled her minivan into the parking lot of the local community center, exhausted from a long shift at the hospital. She was there to pick up her daughter, Lily, a bright 15-year-old who used a wheelchair after a car accident 5 years earlier. Despite her challenges, Lily dreamed of becoming an engineer, her sharp mind always buzzing with ideas. Ellen smiled at the thought of seeing her daughter's face light up, but her heart sank when she heard a sharp voice cut through the evening air. "You can't park that thing here." Margaret Walsh, the self-appointed queen of Maplewood's Homeowners Association, stormed toward Ellen's van. Margaret, with her perfectly styled hair and designer blouse, was notorious for enforcing her version of neighborhood perfection. "That ramp is an eyesore, and you're blocking my view of the park." Ellen lowered the wheelchair ramp, keeping her voice steady. "I'm just picking up my daughter, Margaret. I'll be gone in a minute." Margaret's face twisted with disdain. "This is a respectable neighborhood, Ellen. You and your situation don't belong here." Her words dripped with venom, and Ellen felt the familiar sting of judgment. Margaret had a history of targeting families who didn't fit her mold: single parents, minorities, and anyone who challenged her authority. Before Ellen could respond, Lily rolled out of the community center, her teacher, Ms. Carter, pushing her wheelchair. Lily clutched a sketchbook filled with bridge designs, her face glowing with pride. "Mom, I showed Ms. Carter my suspension bridge idea, and she said it's genius," she called out. Margaret turned, her eyes narrowing at Lily. "Oh, it's the crippled girl," she sneered. "Why don't you stay home where you belong?" Lily's smile vanished, her hands trembling in her lap. Ellen's blood boiled. She stepped between Margaret and her daughter. "Don't you ever speak to my child like that?" Margaret laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "Your daughter's a burden on this community. You should be ashamed." The words hit like a slap, and Ellen's fists clenched. Around them, a few neighbors lingered, watching the scene unfold. Margaret, emboldened by the attention, grabbed a metal rod from a nearby construction site where a neighbor was renovating their porch. "I'll teach you to disrespect me," she shrieked, swinging the rod at Ellen. Ellen dodged, but the rod struck Lily's temple with a sickening thud. Lily gasped, touching her head as blood trickled down her cheek. "Mom," she whispered, her voice faint. Margaret froze, the rod slipping from her hand. "I didn't mean to hit her," she stammered, her face pale. Ellen rushed to Lily's side, her heart pounding. "Lily, stay with me." For a moment, Lily seemed fine, blinking up at her mother. "My head hurts," she murmured. But 3 minutes later, her eyes fluttered shut, and she slumped forward in her wheelchair. Ellen screamed, cradling her daughter as Ms. Carter dialed 911. Neighbors gathered, whispering in shock, but Margaret fled to her pristine colonial house across the street, slamming the door behind her. In the ambulance, Ellen held Lily's hand, praying silently. At St. Mary's Hospital, Dr. Nguyen delivered grim news. "Lily has a traumatic brain injury. She's stable, but she's lost her memories from the past 5 years. She thinks she was 10 years old before her accident." Ellen's world shattered. Lily, now awake, looked around the hospital room with childlike confusion. "Mom, why am I here? Did I fall off my bike?" she asked, her voice small. Ellen forced a smile, tears streaming down her face. "Just a little accident, sweetheart. You'll be okay." That night, Ellen lay awake, replaying Margaret's cruelty. The police had questioned Margaret, but she claimed it was an accident, and they let her off with a warning. Ellen knew the truth: Margaret's rage had stolen her daughter's memories, her dreams, her spark, and she was getting away with it. When Lily returned home after a week in the hospital, she was a shadow of herself. She asked for stuffed animals she hadn't touched in years and cried daily, confused by her wheelchair. "When will I walk again, Mom?" she'd sob, forcing Ellen to relive the pain of explaining her condition. Ellen quit her job to care for Lily, draining her savings on therapy and medical bills. Meanwhile, Margaret strutted through Maplewood, hosting garden parties and ruling the HOA with an iron fist. One day at the grocery store, Ellen spotted Margaret laughing with friends, her cart filled with gourmet cheeses. "Oh, Ellen," Margaret said with a saccharine smile. "How's your daughter? Such a shame about her little accident." Ellen's hands shook. "Her name is Lily, and you know it wasn't an accident." Margaret's friends exchanged uneasy glances, but she brushed it off. Kids are so fragile, she said, waving a manicured hand. That night, Ellen vowed to fight back not with violence, but with truth. She began observing Margaret, noting her obsession with status and control. Margaret's husband, David, a quiet accountant, seemed worn down, rarely home. Their daughter, Sophie, was withdrawn, avoiding her mother's gaze. Neighbors whispered about Margaret's bullying, fining one family for a tacky mailbox, reporting another for a noisy barbecue. Ellen saw her opening. Margaret ruled through fear, not loyalty. Ellen started small, building trust with her neighbors. She baked pies for new families, helped elderly Mr. Thompson with his garden, and listened to their frustrations about Margaret's tyranny. "You're not like her," Mrs. Rivera said. "You care." Ellen smiled. "We're stronger together." Her biggest weapon came from the community center's security footage. After weeks of persistence, Ms. Carter helped Ellen secure the video, which clearly showed Margaret's attack on Lily. Ellen waited for the perfect moment, the monthly HOA meeting, where Margaret reigned supreme. The meeting room buzzed with restless neighbors as Margaret droned on about mailbox regulations. Ellen stood, her voice firm. "I'd like to discuss something more urgent: safety in our community." Margaret's smile tightened. "We're on mailboxes, Ellen." But Ellen pressed on. "3 months ago, my daughter was attacked in this neighborhood. The attacker is here tonight." The room fell silent. Ellen connected her phone to the projector, and the footage played Margaret swinging the rod, Lily collapsing. Gasps echoed. "That's not true." Margaret shrieked. "It was an accident." But the video told a different story. Mr. Thompson stood. "Margaret, how could you hurt a child?" Mrs. Rivera added. "You fined me for my son's skateboard ramp, called it trashy. You're the real problem." One by one, neighbors shared stories of Margaret's cruelty. Years of resentment boiled over. Ellen raised her hand. "I move to remove Margaret Walsh as HOA president." Mrs. Rivera seconded. In a landslide vote, Margaret was ousted, 25-3. She stormed out, vowing revenge, but Ellen felt a flicker of hope. The video spread online, picked up by local news. Maplewood HOA leader attacks disabled teen. Margaret's life unraveled. David filed for divorce, unwilling to be tied to her scandal. Her real estate firm fired her, citing reputational damage. Friends abandoned her. When she threatened to sue Ellen, her lawyer warned, "You could face assault charges. Stay quiet." 6 months later, a reporter from the Maplewood Gazette called Ellen. "We'd love to feature Lily's recovery. She's inspiring." Ellen agreed, and the story detailed Lily's progress relearning math, rekindling her love for engineering, even joining the school robotics club. "I don't remember everything," Lily told the reporter, "but I know I want to build things that help people." Asked about Margaret, Lily said, "I pity her. She must be so unhappy to hurt someone like me." The article went viral, amplifying Margaret's disgrace. She called Ellen, sobbing, "Please, stop the stories. My life's ruined." Ellen's voice was calm. "You ruined your own life, Margaret. You chose cruelty." Margaret apologized, but Ellen saw through it. "You're sorry you got caught," she said, hanging up. 2 years later, Lily thrived, winning robotics awards and earning a scholarship to study engineering. Ellen rebuilt her life, finding strength in her community. One evening, Sophie, Margaret's daughter, knocked on their door. "I'm so sorry for what my mom did," she said, tears in her eyes. "I saw it happen and didn't stop her." Ellen invited her in. "You were a kid, Sophie. It wasn't your fault." Lily wheeled in, smiling. "Hey, Sophie, I remember you. You used to draw flowers in art class." Sophie brightened. "You remember? I'd love to help with your robotics projects. I'm good at coding." From then on, Sophie became a fixture in their home, helping Lily build prototypes and forming a bond like sisters. 5 years after the attack, Ellen spoke at a regional conference on bullying and disability rights. "Justice isn't about revenge," she said. "It's about truth and accountability." Afterward, a frail woman approached Margaret, her designer clothes replaced by a simple sweater. "I've been in therapy," she said softly. "I'm sorry, truly sorry for hurting Lily. I've saved money."